Hello, and welcome to the Music Survival Guide, the independent musician's guide for how to survive in the music industry. My name is Phil, a mixing and mastering engineer. Hope you're all doing marvellously, wonderfully well out there in podcast land. Had a nice cheeky holiday, at least a bit of time to rest over the summer period, and now we're in September, so it's kind of back to it, if that makes sense. And I thought it'd be a good time to talk about Instagram. And Instagram, I know, kind of from personal experience, it's a bit of a bane of existence when it comes to being in a band or being a musician in 2024, and it's kind of unescapable. I think it's become the main social media for bands, to be honest with you, with good reason. It's very easy to use, it's very fun, it's very light, it's very kind of photo and image focused, which is really cool. And there's lots of things that people talk about that you should and shouldn't do and blah blah blah, but I just wanted to talk about, like, what should you do with it? So for some people it's a bit of a pain, and I get that. For some people it's a joy, and I also get that, and you've got to work out what works for you. I think the thing to think about Instagram is the best way to approach it is with creativity. If you're a musician, you by definition love being creative. You love creative pursuits. This is just a different kind of creativity. That might just be the mindset shift that you need to take Instagram seriously and grow your fan base, and therefore hopefully grow things like your streaming numbers and your gigs and your output and things like that. So that'd be really cool. So I think first things first, with any Instagram, you've got to make sure that your profile is clear. Who are you and what do you do? So you're a band, you maybe want to list some band members, I don't know, that's up to you. If you want to link to their profiles, you want to make sure the style, the genre is very, very, very clear from the description, so that someone just looking at your profile within about 30 seconds, maybe less, can work out exactly who you are and what you're doing there. Really, really important. And I think alongside that, you want to make sure that your profile photo is nice and up to date, just so that people know what you look like nowadays. If you had a band member change or something like that, you need to make sure that you've not got the old band member on your profile photo. That would be awkward. Or a band logo. So there's all sorts of ways you can do this, all sorts of methods and approaches. And I think the best way is for you to work out what you want to do with it. But you've got to make sure your profile photo is up to date in one way, shape or form. And you've got to make sure your profile is clear. Who are you? What do you do? Those are the non-negotiables. Alongside that, another non-negotiable is to make sure that your music is easy and quick to find. Can someone get from your profile on Instagram or even Facebook or anything like that, to be honest with you, all sorts of social media, can they get from there to playing your music within 3 or 4 clicks? If not, this is a bad time. You may think, well, why? We're a band. People can check out our music on Spotify. It's easy to search for us or whatever. If someone finds you cold on Instagram and they kind of go interested by a couple of your posts and they go, I wonder what they sound like, people generally aren't going to stick around if they can't get to your music within a few clicks. I'm sorry to say it. Maybe people are just lazy, but you need to do the work for them. Make sure it is as easy as possible to find music, and maybe even your newest music. There's a lot of bands I know who will make their one and only link a link to their newest release. It says stream blah 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 now, and it's got the link straight to the music, and that's really, really important. It means that people can just, no messing about, go, do I like this band? Yes or no? Because you and I both know the images are great, the videos are great. It's not important. What's important is the music, and so you need to direct people to the music as quickly and as easily as you humanly can. So bear that in mind. That is really, 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 really important, with more reallys involved than I just said. So you've got the basics of your profile set up there or reset up there. That's great. What do you post? Where do you start? What do you do with this thing? Because, it's a bit of a bane around your neck. You're not there to create content. You're there to create music. Great. But unfortunately, this is where we are at. And you need to engage with social media to make the most of your opportunities as a band. It's not fun. I don't want to tell you that, but that's what it is nowadays. So I think there's several things that you can do to make sure that you get the content that you need to put out there. First things first, look at what other bands are doing. Are there other bands that you know who are active on social media and are doing really great with it? What are they doing? What kind of posts are they doing? How do people engage? Do they do different kinds of posts, different kinds of content? Shudder at the word content, but there we are. distracting myself there. So you've got to work out, what are they doing that's successful, and does that give you ideas? Don't just wholesale copy what someone else is doing, because that's not a good idea. It's not original. Look at it and get ideas for what you could do. This is a great opportunity to exercise some creativity. Work out, how can I display my creativity, display our band's style in these posts? Are you actually, really, when it comes down to it, quite a serious band? Then tailor your posts in that direction. Are you a stupid band who just do pranks all the day long? Then yeah, cool. That's great. You've got a form of content that you can post that is great, and you need to lean into how the band is. You don't want to give a false perception of what you are like as a band. That is also a bad time and a bad idea. So the second thing I want to talk about when it comes to posting is you need to work out a variety of types of posts to do. You don't just want to do the same thing again and again and again and again and again. Don't get me wrong. If you've got lots of gigs on the trot, then sure, lots of band photos, great idea. Don't get me wrong. But you can also use stories for that kind of disappearing temporary content, as it were. And you want to work out different kinds of content. And I've got a similar approach in my social media use, and you need to work that out for yourself. So an obvious type of content is gig listings. We've got some gigs coming out. Here they are. Boom. That's a kind of piece of content. And hyping up gigs and things like that. You've also got posts about your music directly. You're about to release a song, you're thinking about it, you're doing a music video, whatever. That is also a form of content. You've got other things that you could do, like you could look at rehearsals and funny things that happen in rehearsals, or little clips of you playing a song in a rehearsal. Those can be, really rough and ready videos, because people don't expect the highest production quality from a rehearsal video, just saying. And you've got to work out a kind of variety of things that you can post, and then you need to start posting. You need to post regularly, is what I would say, and how regularly is up to you. I'm not sure Instagram is quite like other things where it needs you to post like 5 times a day or something like that, or you'll get nowhere. It's not like that. You just need to make sure that what you're doing is consistent. You need to make sure that it is consistent. Otherwise, you could be penalized by the algorithm, the dreaded algorithm. Now, yeah, regularly is up to you. I think if regularly is like twice a year, that's maybe not quite enough, but maybe once a week, twice a week, it's up to you. How much time have you got for this, and how much energy have you got for this, is all valid considerations when it comes into working out how to use social media. There are many bands who get to post once a day and they post loads of stories and they're doing great, and that's cool for them. But if you just not got the time to do that, if you've got a full-time job, got a young family, whatever it may be, you've got the band rehearsals as well as that, and you're trying to write for the next release or record it as well, you've just not quite got the time to do that, and that's okay. I'm not here to punish you. I'm not here to tell you what you're doing is wrong. You just need to work out what regularly looks like for you. So there we are. A really, really, really important thing that I want to talk about is memes. Now, memes are like the bedrock of Instagram in so many ways. Memes are okay. Memes are okay to put in your stories, I think. But if you're putting them on your wall, then that's not telling anyone about what you're like as a band. You are trying to almost trick the algorithm into sending people your way. Why I say it's okay in your stories, it's a disappearing piece of content. It's there for 24 hours and then it's gone. But on your wall, that is like what's there forever. That's what you are selling people as an impression of yourself as a band. And if you just got loads of memes on there, that might say something about you, but ultimately it's probably not. It's just trying to feed the algorithm. So I'd urge caution with memes, is my honest answer. And my final comment on posting is you should consider responding to every piece of engagement you have, every comment, every direct message, things like that. Be friendly. Nobody likes a dick. And this is also true on Instagram. Be friendly, be engaging, be nice to your potential fans. If you're horrible, then, or just don't respond, then you might lose a potential fan. And that is not what you want. That's not what you're here for. So make sure that you are responding to every piece of engagement you can. This takes time. This takes effort. I know it can be exhausting, but consider it. The last thing I would say is there's a habit that I've seen bands doing more and more, is occasionally just deleting all the posts on the wall and just kind of starting again from blank slate. And if you're thinking about this, I would urge some level of caution, because if I see a massive profile with only 3 or 4 posts on the wall, then it automatically makes me just think, I'm not really sure what's going on there. is there some kind of weird dodgy thing where they're trying to buy likes or something? What's going on there? I don't know. And if you're posting regularly enough that you can very quickly kind of go from nothing to a very full wall, that's great. But if not, I would be cautious of deleting stuff off your wall, only because it is the profile from which you can sell yourself to people. If you get somebody who discovers your profile, stumbles upon you, really likes a song they listen to and goes, I really like this band, I want to find out more about them, probably the first thing they'll do is go back to your Instagram wall and start having a look through some more posts and just see what you like, see what you're talking about. And if you've only got 3 pieces of content on there, that's not necessarily going to sell yourself in quite the same way. Whereas if you've got a kind of load of content going back to maybe even the beginning of the band, they can almost get a taste for your history. So I think it's worth being careful when it comes to kind of deleting your wall and starting again. And I know lots of big musicians do that ahead of like a big album or something, and that might work for you, but I would genuinely preach caution when it comes to that. That's my approach anyway. Feel free to take it or leave it with a pinch of salt. But I'm just here to kind of make you think about, what should Instagram be used for? How can you use it? Why bother? That kind of thing. And I hope this has been useful to you. So all I'm going to say is thank you for listening to another episode of the Music Survival Guide podcast. If you liked it, please rate and review wherever you listen. It all helps the algorithm, of course. And please share it with any friends and bandmates if you thought it was useful. If you thought there was some interesting tidbits in there, interesting ideas, and you need to get your social media game in place, then enjoy. And if you're thinking about recording or mixing, you would talk about it, feel free to reach out to me via the links in the podcast description below, maybe via my Instagram or via email, and I will see you next time.